No, I know what's the IB whatever?
Oh, independent movie database.
Yeah, I got one, I got credit. In an original Jesse Bodine production.
Oh, yeah. You by
It was viewed a lot. I
3
viewed,
or 4 people.
I viewed it a lot, Shine.
Well, it doesn't. All righty, good.
Okay, we have quorum. So thank you, everybody, for showing up on a different day and time for our meeting. So welcome, everyone. This is the October meeting of the Cannabis Task Force. MCB4 has a hybrid policy in place, which means that members of the community board are in person unless they have an extraordinary circumstance. For those that are attending remotely, they need to leave their cameras on during the session. We do not have any members of our task force this evening that are attending remotely. This meeting is being recorded live and showing on YouTube and will remain there in perpetuity. And I believe that is the only thing that I need to say, other than the reason why we're a hybrid is as per New York State Open Meetings Law, which is why we have a hybrid policy.
Got it.
Okay, great, got
You're
that.
off book.
Wow. All right, so we have a few changes to the agenda this evening. Items 3 and 4 are off and postponed till next month. We will have 2 possibly old new business items to discuss. So we do have a couple of applicants that are already here, and we have a hand raised. Oh.
They're not coming single coming.
Okay.
The first item.
Okay, so the first one is 301 West 45th Street. Actually, why does it say 301? Oh, that's the name of it, because they originally were 301 West 45th Street, but it's at now 743 9th Avenue, West 50th, 51st. You may remember this applicant when they come back on. So if you're there, please raise your hand and we will bring you over. Thank you.
Nita, is Teresa with you?
Hi, could you hear me?
Why can't I hear? Hold on 1 second, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Are you able to hear us?
Yes, I can.
There you go.
Whoa.
There we go.
I made it.
All right.
With an echo.
Try again, Linda?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, great. Is Teresa with you?
She should be joining.
Okay, no, I just want to make sure she's part of your team. I'll bring her over.
Yes, she is.
Okay.
Okay, and with apologies before we start, just give 1 second. So I forgot to mention what's the purpose of our Cannabis Task Force, which I think is important for those that are viewing online. For the Cannabis Task Force, the community board is part of the process for legal cannabis operations. Part of their requirement is to speak to the community and to provide information about their method of operation, and also to speak a little bit about why they want to be in that location and what potential positive they can add. For the community board's part, we evaluate the appropriateness for the community. We are not evaluating whether or not cannabis is appropriate or not, and we are not also speaking about the concerns and issues at this time of a legal cannabis shop. So we are speaking to applicants who have gone through the process of working with the New York State Cannabis. Now I'm drawing a total blank. Office Management in order to open up either a store or to grow or to have a micro business or any of those that are appropriate for the New York City area. So with that, I will turn it over to Ken, Teresa, and Lintha. We have seen you here before. I think what's important for the task force is to understand what changes have been made, because it looks like your location has changed. Also, we had some questions when we originally spoke to you. I think that would be helpful to clarify who actually will be monitoring, managing, and operating as this application, if I recall, was an application for a minority or women-owned business. So with that, if you can just reintroduce who you are and reintroduce the potential business.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Lintha Khan. I'm the main operator and the president of the New York City Cannabis Company. It will be open on 743 9th Ave on 50th Street. I wanted to thank everyone for their time and apologize if my voice is too shaky. I've had way too much caffeine today, so if I'm talking too fast, feel free to stop me. Ken and Tess, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Hi there. We've been working with Lintha and AA 301 West 45th, who will be doing business as New York Cannabis Co. For quite a while throughout the licensing process, and we'll be supporting them operationally. I'm a cannabis consultant, and I'll let Ken go now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ken Seligson. Sorry for not being on video. I'm actually traveling right now. We have worked tirelessly to help this applicant open up their retail store. As you've heard, we took one shot at opening up on 45th. That location didn't work out for us, and the OCM policies and rules allowed us to move the location, and we were able to find a location on 9th Ave. This applicant is very excited about opening up, and if you guys have any questions regarding legal implications, how OCM process works, Teresa and myself have been dealing with it for the past 2.5 years, so we're very well versed in this, and we are dedicated to helping Lintha operate her business compliantly and ensure that the business runs smoothly and safely.
Yes, great. So we do have a PowerPoint presentation. Tess, if you want to pull that up. While she pulls that up, I'll just share a little bit about my goals for the store and why it's so important to me. So I grew up working in the city within my family's retail stores. I still do part-time while acquiring my MBA from Ramapo College. So I have seen firsthand the damage that these illegal smoke shops have done on the state. I have several actual personal stories, which I know we don't have that much time, so I will not go into right now, but I've overall seen the damage, and my goal with this store is to provide a safe environment, break the stigma surrounding cannabis by promoting safe and responsible and informed use. I want to provide high quality products and educate the community about the benefits and responsible consumption of cannabis, all in aims to dispel the outdated misconceptions that so many people have helped create through these illegal smoke shops. So yeah, and we will of course operate transparently and responsibly in full compliance with all state regulations. A little bit about the location. You could go to the next slide, Tess. Thank you. So it will be on 743 9th Ave on 50th Street. The OCM has approved this location for retail dispensary use. We're also authorized for delivery services, but we will not be offering that at this time. A little bit on why we chose this location. It complies with all zoning and distancing regulations. We're not within 500 feet of any schools or 200 feet of any churches. This neighborhood is known for its great pedestrian activity, the nightlife. We just love the neighborhood, and we want to contribute positively to it by ensuring that everything we do is in compliance with all laws, all regulations, and create a safe environment for cannabis. And then we could go to the next slide. Yep. So we do have experience of retail management in highly regulated areas. As I stated before, my family does have several of the I Love New York souvenir shops in around Midtown. So we do have experience complying with the laws, although I know it's a completely different realm. But our stores do carry NYPD, FDNY, MTA products, which all have to be licensed through the state. So, and we do know of other gift shops that do not comply with these laws, but we have a very deep commitment to following all legal requirements. We'll also be staffed with cannabis compliance experts to ensure responsible operations and continuous legal compliance. As far as our operating plan goes, if you could just go to the next slide, Tess. Sorry. Perfect. We will be open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., balancing customer needs with community safety. All of our products will have child-resistant packaging. All of our products will also be OCM approved products manufactured in New York. And we will have sales limitations to ensure compliance and safety. And then, Tess, if you want to go over the security plan and the crowd control plan. Oh, sorry, one more thing I wanted to just go over. All of our employees will have comprehensive, extensive training in safety protocols, customer service, and cannabis education. And we're also committed to hiring locally. It is said that cannabis is projected to create 63,000 jobs in New York by 2025, with 24,000 of these jobs expected to be in New York. So once again, we want to hire locally, and we anticipate the need for about 12 community members, prioritizing workplace development and training. And then, yeah, I'll let Tess go over the security plan.
So we will have 24/7 surveillance. Our cameras will cover all entry and exit points to allow for clear identification of anyone entering the building. It's also all of our cameras are pointing at the point of sales and anywhere where cannabis or cash is stored. We also have intrusion detection. We will have on-site security personnel, a whole security team. There will be a security guard posted at the door to assist with ID verification and crowd control. Controlled access. We will keep the doors locked at the time in between the need for customers to enter. So we'll keep our entry and exit point controlled and monitored. We're going to have strict ID verification. So we are going to be using ID scanning, VeriScan. So this will prevent fake IDs. All of our staff is going to be well trained in ID verification and being able to spot fake IDs. And then our security is also going to be able to prevent diversion and loitering on the sidewalk, as well as on unauthorized access to the building. Okay, so now we'll go over crowd control. There we go. Okay, so crowd control, we have a full crowd control plan. The most important part about crowd control is going to be having smooth transactions. So we have systems in place to ensure transaction times are down, transactions are smooth, there's not a lot of wait time in the store, and there's a good customer flow inside the store. One of the keys to this is pre-orders. So you will be able to place an order for pickup. You can schedule a time to pick up your product. And these orders are filled very, very quickly. So within a matter of minutes, you can be in and out of the store to pick up your product. Parking and pedestrian considerations for the street. It's a very pedestrian area. We will have a no loitering policy, so we will ensure that there's no congestion building up on the sidewalk that way. Deliveries, there is a designated delivery lane. And we're going to coordinate delivery times to make sure that it doesn't cause any direct disruption. And when I mean deliveries, that means shipments of products come into our store. We are not doing delivery at this time. And security guards are going to help us out with accepting product shipments to make sure everything goes really smoothly. Also, with our crowd control plan, we're going to continuously assess it and monitor it and be committed to not causing any disruption in the neighborhood. All right, I think we're ready for additional considerations.
Yes, so I also wanted to go over some concerns as far as odor and noise control go. All of our products will be pre-packaged. There will be no on-site consumption. so there's no odor control issues. We will also have minimal noise and light to make sure we don't disturb any nearby residents. We will have a discreet storefront, free of cannabis depictions, and none of our products will be visible from the street. We will dedicate a contact for any concerns that the community may have to address those concerns in a timely manner. Yeah. And then I think that is all. If there's any questions, thank you everyone for your time. And this is if you want to reach out, that's linthacon228@gmail.com. Yeah, if there's any questions, please let us know.
Great, thank you. Just a moment. You finished printing? Jesse, you finished printing? Okay, good. All right, so open it up to the task force. Any questions? Yes.
So, Rodney Washington, good to see you again. I was in the neighborhood today. I did not notice the public notice sign on the door. Was it posted?
Yes, it was posted.
Where?
The public notice sign, the QR code from the OCM. Is that what you mean?
About the meeting tonight.
Oh, we did post those those posts, and we sent photos to Jesse.
So again, I was there today and I noticed the work being done in this space. So again, I'm curious about that. Second, your application said that you would have delivery. So again, confirming there will be no deliveries.
No,
There will be no deliveries, right?
Also notice that on the application to us, said 8 p.m. is the closing time. So that's being changed as well. Is that correct?
Correct. And we're considering staying open later to be consistent with the other businesses in the area. We're surrounded by 3 or 4 bars that stay open quite late at night. So to provide safe access to people who are out late in that area, we are considering staying open later, but we can notify you once we make that change.
Also, where are you in the process with OCM? Lottery number, license number, anything received?
Yes, we just went through our inspection to gain approval to operate. So they gave us the thumbs up to operate, but we should be receiving that officially sometime this week, and we're hoping to open hopefully on Thursday or Friday this week.
And the status of the elements, I noticed on the application, it says will notify residential units upon approval. Are you guys still waiting
Yes.
for them?
We already notified the residential units and have had conversations with people in the building. We discussed, what we're considering with staying open later, and nobody had any problems with it. And we also reached out to all of the community groups that Jesse sent us a list to. We're going to be speaking with the Hell's Kitchen board tomorrow at their community meeting as well.
Sorry, who are you meeting with?
The Hell's Kitchen Block Association.
You might want to check that because is it HK 5154?
That's correct.
Okay, because I'm not familiar with that Hell's Kitchen, something named Hell's Kitchen Block Association.
I just assumed that HK stood for Hell's Kitchen.
And
Julian's or
Julian's, but that's in the 30s.
yeah, that's
So wait, I'm sorry, can you which organization are you meeting with?
Let me pull up the email. Hey, Linda, do you have that email in front of you? I'm sharing my screen right now.
HK 4954 monthly meeting.
Okay, that's good.
That's more appropriate because that's
appropriate.
the meeting area. Any other groups that you're meeting with? I mean, there's a lot of community groups and block associations that that may or may not know that you're coming to the neighborhood, considering that you're expecting to open on Thursday. Have you planned to meet with any other community groups?
We've reached out to everyone that Jesse sent us the contacts for, and we've, been in the neighborhood discussing with nearby businesses. So far, that is the first speaking engagement that we will have.
The restaurant next door, I'm sorry.
No one else has confirmed that they are interested in speaking with us, although we offered.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Alan?
Thank you again for that presentation. Back in the security plan, because your application refers back to 45th Street. So you may want to say you can come to us with the site plan also for the space.
Okay, Tina?
I'm a little confused about the hours because in your application you say until 8. Before someone said 10, and then to your question, said you're going to stay open until the businesses on the block stay open. So I'm very confused as to when you're closing.
I apologize. The audio is not translating for us. So if that was a question for us, if you could repeat the question.
Repeat again, maybe. Are you not hearing us very well?
No.
I have 2 questions, but my first question has to do with closing time. In your application, you said that you're closing at 8. To Rodney's question, you said you're closing at around the time that the other businesses close. And then I heard during your presentation, closing at 10. So we have 3 different times that you're staying open.
Okay, I think I got it. You want clarification on the hours of operation,
Correct.
right? Linda and I have put a lot of consideration into the hours of operation. We've consulted with the residents in the building, with our advisors. So that's why the changes. We wanted to be sure that we put a lot of thought into it. But at this time, they will be 10 to 10. And if needed, we can provide you further notice of staying open later.
Okay, so it sounds like to me that at the time that you filled out the forms, you were still considering how that would work. You made an adjustment and
Right.
change based on the information you've been gathering, and you're still in the process of assessing what makes sense for that particular location. Does that sound right?
Correct.
Yes.
I would only add then, if what we typically do is have, if the committee chooses to make a recommendation tonight, eventually it turns into a letter which we attach your application to us and ask you to confirm by your signature that you are agreeing to all of the things that you have filled out in your application. So I would ask if the committee goes forward with a recommendation tonight, that between now and the full board, you sooner than later, you fill out, actually, because I realize we're meeting later on in the month, that you refill out that application with the updated information in terms of your hours of operation and any right, thank you, and the security plan if that's not accurate to the location, because what we do is we provide that to the full board for review, and if they're reading something that doesn't match what you're saying, then it's going to be difficult and confusing. So please update
Okay,
that.
so you would like us to update the application to reflect our hours of operation?
Yeah, if the committee at this point is going to go ahead and make a recommendation. Yes.
Right. Anyway.
You should update it. You should update it anyway. Yeah.
Did it as a document stating to what your potential operation is. One thing that I'm not sure if the task force committee or task force remembers, but one of the issues that we had about the location that you originally applied for on 45th Street was that specific location actually had an illegal cannabis operation there. And from our understanding, that was a location that was controlled by your family, Lintha. So I know that you stated in your presentation that you are very dedicated to taking away the stigma, as well as seeing firsthand the negative effects of illegal cannabis shops. But a little bit concerned there about whether or not there is any other family involvement in this operation that you'll have, considering that they may have licensed to some folks that are counter to the business you're trying to start.
Yes, so family has no involvement. It is solely my operation. Yeah, I can provide you with anything else you need to know, but yes, it is solely my operation.
One clarifying question. Did you say that you were planning to open next Thursday or Friday?
Yes, so we're planning to open this Thursday. We had the inspection yesterday. They approved us for opening. The only thing that they wanted was a picture, was us to get a safe, I believe. We have done that. I think Tess, you told them we did that too. And they approved us for everything else, so hopefully by Thursday we will be open, yes.
Okay, so the 31st is a date that you've been given as a potential date for opening?
Yes.
Alan?
What about the meeting with the Black Association?
I mean, clear, yeah, so what he's talking about is in any normal process, particularly when we are dealing with something like alcohol for our business license and permits committee, we require or we ask of applicants that they meet with community members ahead of time so that we ensure that any issues, concerns are worked out and we can all agree upon them. But Alan, as you are aware, what we've noticed in this rollout from OCM is that there's a lot of trouble afoot in terms of how they are issuing licenses, where they're issuing them, who they're giving proximity protection to. I'm actually a little bit shocked personally to know that you're about to open without having had any real community outreach or input. I mean, this public meeting, we don't have a lot of attendees here this evening, but this public meeting is an opportunity for our fellow community members to understand that you're coming to the community, and they do not. So I'm concerned, but that's not on you, that's on OCM. So Alan, I think it's not because they weren't responsive in following what we asked them to do. OCM's just working on its own timetable, even though it's asked the community to be part of the process. Tina.
You said that you have an arrangement with an expert that's familiar with the cannabis industry.
Teresa.
Teresa.
She's a consultant.
She is a consultant. How does this arrangement work? In other words, how do you read? What do you go over? I'm just sort of curious because your background is basically in the tourist industry. At least that's what you're on the application.
Do you mind repeating the question?
I heard the question, and this is Ken Seligson speaking. So I'm the owner of Seligson Law. I've been a practicing attorney for 6 years, exclusively representing cannabis businesses for 10 years, nearly, and 9 years. And so we are on retainer with Lintha and AA 301. So we are, ready, available to help guide and advise on both the legal complexities of the cannabis industry. So we help with the application process, we help with putting together corporate documents, financing, but also as Teresa is part of my team, she has helped manage, open, and has operated a number of different types of cannabis businesses, vertically integrated, cultivation, retail, distribution. So our experience combined is a really great benefit for a lot of operators who don't necessarily have the cannabis industry experience, but want to open a business and want to take advantage of an opportunity that provides, opportunities here in the cannabis space. So we're the experts that I think Linta was referencing.
Got it. Thank you.
Right, and I've been working really closely with Linda, and I've been really impressed with her desire to learn about compliance and the intricate regulations that these businesses are required to comply with. So that's been a pleasure to work with her.
So I am actually, if we think about all the different applications that we've seen over the last few months, it's great to know that there are professionals that are assisting people getting into the business, because we know how complicated it is and difficult. So having someone like Ken and Tess is very important. And I'll be honest, had I not heard your application previously in the months earlier for the 45th Street location, I would be thrilled to know that this sounds like you have professionals working with you, a sound operation, you've researched the location, and I'd be comfortable. But I unfortunately do happen to have that presentation and that conversation that we had with the community prior, which did not give me 100% confidence that this operation makes sense for the community. So I'm just letting you know that. And the reason why is because, again, in the previous presentation, it was really about leaning on the family business in the retail space that on what they already operate, and then knowing that there was a renter in that location that was in the illegal business, and that's troublesome. So again, I'm just being transparent around how I'm approaching looking at this application.
All right, I guess this is Ken Seligson. Just to respond to that, I believe we were approved at the last community board hearing for that location. Whatever the reservations were, I think really the applicant here and the team that she has and the kind of way the regulations are set up, it really kind of points to this applicant being a gold star and a really great operator and someone who's going to be a fantastic contribution to the community. I truly believe that. I represent a lot of applicants and a bunch of community boards across the city. And I think Linta is really going to be a great benefit to this community. So I would just put that on the record as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And again, I believe you're correct. It did pass. I think I was the dissenting vote on that one at that meeting. So, folks, thoughts? Yes.
Just to follow, I was there. Generally speaking, most of the applications that we have there, they had somebody on the had a connection with either the attorney or some other. Was working strictly directly with the operator. Maybe they had an interest in it in some way. Wasn't as Mrs. Evans said, working with other people trying to help them through the process. So who's going to be on site? Who's the manager going to be on site? Who's going to run this? It's a busy area. There's a lot going on that street. And I think someone who may be in an office overseeing an operation, I think they have to help with the meeting. That's why it would be helpful to get some feedback from the process.
Who plans to be on site as the manager, or is that something you're going to hire for, Linta, or is that you?
I will be on site. Yes.
What?
So I was here at that meeting. So it was approximately a year ago. And the question came up about the illegal store. It was the guy from the wine.
Yeah.
And the brother said there was no illegal activity. I think we found out later on that there was no illegal store. Something to that effect.
Yeah. So my memory is that the committee did support Linta's original application. The one that we actually did not support was the property owner that was looking for another location, but was the same property owner, the landlord of Linta's family business. And so we found out that what ended up happening was there was a subtenant in that situation that was rented out to, who was doing, but was selling, unlicensed, and so that was the denial, which was the landlord's application for another, actually for a Ninth Avenue location. Yeah, so just for clarity's sake and for historical sake. I know it's confusing. So we had multiple applications. That landlord had made a couple different applications and came back to us a couple different times. And during that time, what we discovered was the landlord had rented out, had a lease with Linta's family for a space. That part of that space was being subletted to a location to someone who was, selling unlicensed cannabis, or at least that's what was reported to us. I will say that's what was reported to us with evidence and shown to us. And so that was the lineage there. But for the application that Linta did, as Dolores said, originally provide, that the committee did end up supporting it. Tina, you have a face of
Yeah, I'm a little bit uncomfortable, I have to say, and what makes me more uncomfortable is you went by the store and there was no public notice and I have no feedback from the community.
So since you mentioned that, let's check. Are there any members online that did want to speak to this application? If so, please raise your hand. We'll bring you over. Okay, and sir, I don't know if you were here to speak on this application. Okay, great. Thank you.
Can I, Linta and Ken or Teresa, can you confirm when you sent out the notice to the block associations? I know you sent me evidence of the posting, so I do have that, I believe. But can you just give me a approximate date?
Yeah, I'll confirm that. One moment.
Thank you. And while you're looking that up, just to state, I think in general, this task force has been very positive and supportive of applicants who are getting professional help and that have guidance from people who are experts in the industry. We also appreciate applicants that are trying to be proactive and engaged with the members of the block associations and other organizations to ensure that there's a good conversation around their operation. So I think that this application, as we're seeing today, does fit where we have been very positive on, and that there's the compliance with the outreach, even though we haven't had it yet. And there's also the consultant, which is something I think we focused on for many of the applicants, that they needed to get a consultant to understand the business. So that's something I think that we can recognize. It is consistent with a position that we've had as a community board where we've been positive on an applicant.
I'd also like to add two other positive notes with respect to our conversation last year. I think one of our concerns was that the brother was sort of holding the conversation. However, I'd like to compliment Lincoln. Today, you've done an excellent job of presenting your case with respect to your ownership. I think the initial conversation, your brother sort of dominated the conversation, and we were concerned about that. And the other thing we asked was that you keep Teresa on, and we can see she's here a year later. So again, positives on that as well.
Thank you.
I don't think the meeting.
We began community outreach on the 14th through the 17th.
Okay.
So it's been 2 weeks.
I mean, listen, I will say also
And that
that
was yeah, I'm so sorry. That was specifically to the groups that Jesse asked us to reach out to. We've been working with our neighbors for quite some time.
I will just say also, I always send this agenda, because I know it's a very sensitive topic right now, at least, to the block associations as well. So they certainly have gotten it.
And they know.
And I mean, I would have heard, I have not heard any responses on this particular application.
Sorry, you were going to say something?
I wasn't at the previous meeting, so without any of that backstory, I wish we had more community input, but otherwise, I feel like this plan feels solid, and I agree with, I think you did a great job kind of talking about your vision, and I like to see how you support, experts that are on board. I think my other concern is that they're about to open, so it feels like a little bit.
Yeah.
Like our role is odd here.
Yeah. Ken, I know there was a bit of a delay over the summer because the application was, your notice to us was sent over the summer, which is always a little bit difficult for us because we don't meet always every month in the summer. But and then you asked for a month of to postpone. But could you provide, or maybe Teresa or Linda, I don't mean to just say it's Ken, provide a little bit of insight as to, because we've had applications that sat around for months and almost years after being sent to us that haven't got this kind of turnaround from OCM. Can you provide a little bit of insight as to how and why OCM is able to move so quickly on these applications? Not in a negative way, just to understand how they decide on this.
Yeah, this is Ken Seligson. The reason OCM moves so quickly is just the luck of the draw. So there is no rhyme or reason as to how they are moving through the queue. As you guys may know, there was both a November queue, meaning a November application period, as well as a December application period. They are only currently on the November application queue. And you would think the lottery was set up as a queue, meaning there's a lottery number 1 through a couple thousand. And you would think they would move 1, 2, 3, 4, and yet they haven't done that. They've kind of bounced around based on who has the most complete application, is my understanding, because they desire opening up retail stores so that they can save the cultivation and processing, the production side of the industry. What they did was they legalized cannabis, they got cultivators licensed right away, then they licensed processors, and what you had was a situation where there was no retail outlet for these individuals to sell their product. And so you had these businesses failing after being promised, this new opportunity in this industry. And so what my guess is that they were trying to find the best, easiest, most complete applications and open those and move those forward to opening first. It's the best guess that I have.
Thank you, Ken.
That's very helpful. That's very helpful. So thank you. So Wendy, considering, the summary that you just made of how you're leaning towards this, is there a motion that can come out of that?
Motion to move the application.
Can I make a friendly amendment?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do I have a second? Tina seconds. Okay, any discussion or anything to add on? Now you can speak.
As a non-board member, I just like to make the things that we highlighted, which is the updating of the application. That needs to happen before the board. I would say that should happen, by the end of the week. Yeah. And I think also, as we've done with other applications, a commitment to continued communication and outreach to the lists that we've sent and the meetings that and maybe some feedback from the meeting that they are having with the Hell's Kitchen. I forget.
HK 49-51.
Yes, 49-51 would be helpful.
And if you already have that hotline number set up that you had mentioned in the presentation, that would be an access for the community if there are concerns or problems. That would be really helpful in your community meetings, that you provide that to them. That way there is at least comfort for those that don't understand the industry and what you're looking to do, that they have a partner in resolving any issues that may arise. Okay, so with that little friendly amendment, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay. That passes. Thank you very much. So again, we'd like to see the update to the application, hopefully before you open, and as well as continued outreach to the community members, the community organizations. And best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next applicant, BlazinUP LLC. So if you're with BlazinUP LLC for the application at 302 8th Avenue between 25 and 26, please raise your hand. We'll bring you over.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello. Is Yin Lin with you?
Yeah, she's on our team.
Great. All right, we're bringing her over then. Hi, welcome. So if you could introduce yourselves and introduce the business that you're trying to open and walk us through essentially the application, that would be helpful, and then we'll ask some questions.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks so much. My name is Matthew Ward, along with my partner, Miguel Bernard. We are card licensees. Yin Lin, also on with us tonight, is on our team, and she helps us do high-level strategy and raising and build out and so on and so forth, in a consulting capacity. We were awarded back in April of 2023, if you can believe it. We have a very long, twisty road. Several locations dropped out. We have now finally found site control at 302 8th Avenue, which used to be the old 7-Eleven there on the corner of 25th and 8th. Jesse's been great in guiding us through this process to get back in front of you. We were initially denied site control, by the way. We were buffered out by another yellow leaf. I don't know if you guys know the map, how it works. But we disputed it. We're just like 3 feet off, and they allowed us through, and now we're back in front of you presenting finally. I am a New Yorker here 12 years. I originally started out as an affordable housing project developer, doing low-income affordable housing in California. And then I got into electoral politics, running campaigns and issue advocacy campaigns, housing being a big passion of mine, until I got into cannabis in 2016. I was in Michigan doing the Hillary coordinated in that state, and I was approached by cannabis operators who wanted me to go in and legalize submarkets in cities that had opted out, that had banned cannabis, and we passed ballot initiatives. And we were actually tip of the spear in doing social equity policy back then, which was cool. So Kalamazoo in particular. So that's how I got my kind of foray into the cannabis industry, always on the politics and the policy side and generating markets and whatnot. Until our own state finally passed legislatively in March of 2021, and met Miguel at a speakeasy uptown in Harlem, back when they had those speakeasies that were kind of floating around back then. And we kind of hit it off, and Miguel, I'll let you talk about yourself a little bit, but Miguel's an administrator at CUNY. And we decided that he was qualified, and I knew enough about how to get these licenses and kind of move through the bureaucracy of it to take a plunge. And that was almost a year and a half ago now that we got awarded. So anyways, the injunction, everything, and a couple sites fell out, like I said, and now here we are. With that little synopsis on me and our story, I'll let Miguel talk about himself for a second.
Hey, great night, everybody. So just like Matt said, we met over a year ago, and based on some of the social impact that happened in the 90s, the things that are going on today almost seem like a dream. Like everything people are doing today, I got arrested for back in the days, right? And so it's just an interesting place to be now that I'm in this position, which I'm really grateful for the work that Matt and Yin have put together, and the fact that somehow we cross paths, and now we're literally this journey that's been taken. Man, it's been a strenuous journey, because we've been trying to put this together like Matt mentioned, over a year. And, you know, things out of our control, the OCM, we finally found this location in your area. And we really want to do something that would be contributing to the neighborhood. Because we know after, I don't know if I want to call it a debacle. I don't want to name nobody out, but the city hasn't really done a terrific job trying to put this together. And so we've been trying our best to really put the right foot forward and do this correctly. And so we really feel privileged to have this opportunity, and we really want to do the right thing. So thank you for having us here.
Thank you. Can you walk us a little bit in through your plan for this site, and also what connection you already have, if any, to the specific community? I know that you had initially looked at a different location, but wanting to get a little bit of a sense of the connection.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually down in CB2. I live down in Soho, but I worked on Corey's campaign and Eric's campaign, so I'm pretty familiar with the neighborhood. Let me though have Yin turn on her we also did a deck. It's much more supplementary to our questionnaire that we filled out, where we uploaded our security plans and everything. So that part's a little lighter here compared to our last colleague that went. So the alchemy is what we're going to go by. And just a quick little piece on us. You know, we are capitalized, we are ready to go, we are working on best in class, you know, industry experts. We'll do a GM model, someone that's, you know, had, you know, existing years doing retail. You know, we've been in the industry now for a while, so we're pretty comfortable in sourcing talent and marketing and launching and product sourcing and everything. So we're pretty solid there in terms of comfort level. I think for most of the people that you must see, it's whether they, you know, are they capitalized? Do they know what they're doing? I think that we definitely check off those boxes. We are definitely committed to participating in the OCM Seeding Opportunities Initiative and using our store as a training ground for that program that they're doing there. I thought that was a great idea that they did. Hopefully they get that better funded and they keep following up with that. You know, we're also going to be trying to hire local and providing a living wage. That's in our pro forma modeling to make sure that we're doing that too. Other than that, you kind of sort of heard about us already and what we're up to. This is just some mock-ups of what the interior of that 7-Eleven is going to look like. A very different 7-Eleven experience. This is the outside here. Yeah, and that's that old 7-Eleven there as it exists. So this must look familiar to you guys right here. It's right across the street from the C stop. Our landlord, broker, and us, we did go back a second in. We did hit up the residents above us. I also, per Jesse's guidance, emailed every single block association, tenant association, a couple nonprofits were on there. I did get a great response back from Assembly Member Simone, Tony Simone. I don't know him very well. Yeah, I think you guys must. And he wants to attend, wants to meet us. You know, he's a big supporter of the card program, which was great to hear that after all this time. And then I had a couple other questions from block association folks, like where you're located, but nothing really too inquisitive. They all recognize that this was happening today. You know, invited them to come attend, you know, this webinar. Okay, next slide, Ian. So yeah, this is the basic floor plan. It's a 7-Eleven. Right now, on the lower end of that, there's a bunch of you know, drink storage things that we have to remove, but it's a fairly easy build out. I think that our projected launch isn't going to be until January if we can move forward here. You know, that's just realistic what that is. Here's another overhead. I do want to get into security and crowd control and the stuff that that's important for you guys to understand. Ian, do you want to talk a little bit about this stuff? Just give you a chance to talk.
Sure. So this is you might want to mute. Great. This is a workflow. Matt, can you turn down your volume? Great, thanks. Yeah, so this is a workflow of how a customer would flow through the store. So you have your ID check in the front desk, and then there are floating displays in the center of the store, as well as kiosks on the right-hand side. And so when a customer is ready to purchase, they'll go to one of the checkout sites and make their purchase, or they can make a floating purchase with a bartender with a POS system. And then once they complete the transaction, they'll exit from the same entrance, as we only have 2 double doors in front of the store. So that is a general flow of the store, and then the back area is your secure storage area. We do have a small basement in this site, although it's not very large, so the bulk of our storage will be on that first floor. But that is the flow of transactions. For the visual surveillance, you'll see that it's a fairly rectangular generic shaped store, so we don't have any funky angles or hard to see parts of the store that a camera wouldn't be able to access. So this is a general placement so that we have all angles covered and the entire site covered. I'll just add there will be cameras facing the exterior of the site as well. So we will be recording movement in the front of the store, so that in any case of scenario with this break-in or any sort of issues happening right in front of the store, we'll have camera footage of that as well. Store hours, pretty straightforward. Monday to Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Thursdays, 10 to 11 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays, also 10 to 11, and then Sundays, 10 to 10 p.m. And we'll certainly adjust these as needed, based on feedback and demand in the market. We want to make sure that we're servicing the community as needed. And if there's a need for us to cut hours or expand hours, we certainly want the flexibility to do that. This is sample product menu. Obviously, this is going to adjust based on brand and price fluctuations in the market. We're going to be competitively priced with other stores in the area and in the general Manhattan market. So this is just an idea of the types of products, standard, all the different types of products that any other dispensary will offer. And as you all know, we all purchase from the same manufacturers and cultivators. So there won't be any differentiating product except for the ones that we choose to highlight and sell in our stores. Some notes on crowd control. We'll have a fairly active security guard monitoring what is happening, so that if there's any loitering, we'll make sure that gets handled efficiently. During rush hour, if needed, ropes and stanchions, and then a ticket and number system if needed, similar to what you might see at a bagel shop or deli, so that we don't have large crowds of people in the store or in the front of the store that might cause a security concern. And that's a bit about the operation, but happy to take any questions folks might have.
I was curious that you didn't have on the menu something called a Slurpee, so, in case.
That's funny.
Any questions from the task force? Rodney?
So I can confirm that your public notice was on the door today, so that was good. I also noticed that part of the building that I noticed as well, in the protection plan, is that because there's work being done for your space or something happening with the building?
I think it's something happening.
Matthew, you're still on mute.
Oh, sorry about that. I think it's something happening with the building. We haven't done anything yet.
You said you spoke to, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'll just add, the landlord did remove the fridge from the space, so it may be related to that.
No, this feels more involved because it actually says it's about protecting the tenants in the building when there's construction work being done. So it feels a little more involved than the refrigerator being removed. Oh, I'm sorry. Matt, you had mentioned that you spoke to the tenant above. Was there only one tenant or? Because there's like 2 floors, right, above you?
Yeah, there's 2 floors. This was a while back. It was not, no, it wasn't directly above, it was the next one up, as I recall. This is about 3 months ago, 4 months ago. It was with the landlord or the broker, excuse me.
So I also wanted to compliment you guys on the security plan. I thought it was pretty detailed, nicely done. I had a question about your plans on delivery.
It would be great. I just don't know if we can afford that, honestly, out of the gate to get that going, but I mean, possibly. It's something we need to consider.
It's on the application as yes, so we move forward, maybe we change and update it. Because I'd be concerned, because it's a tight space, where would the delivery people reside, rest?
Yeah.
It's
It's really not. I mean, again, it'd be great. It's really not part of the plan right now, but I hate to shut the door on it. Because it is a revenue driver, but you know.
Again, back to the security plan again, I thought it was really, really nicely done, organized, easy to read. Just a clarification, there's a section that talks about visitors, and I just want to know, are visitors like audited people or OCM? Because it says everyone would get a badge. That's not customers, right? Or would the customers get a badge? You guys seem to be very detailed about who's coming in, how you're going to monitor that.
Yes, in the questionnaire that I was said, yeah, that's for personnel and any like state level, city level inspector staff coming. Yeah.
Employees will have one badge and anyone else visiting, like auditors, OCM people, will get a different badge, but not customers, right?
Right.
Or customers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wendy? Question.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Clarifying hours. I think I saw in the deck there, it was 10 to 10 some days, 10 to 11 some days, but that's not what we have in the application, so.
Right. I was wondering if there was a difference there. What's in my application? Sorry, I don't have to.
Monday through Friday, 10:30 to 9:30.
9:30.
Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Saturday and 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sunday. Which is, I'm assuming, I bet that's a misprint. Maybe the 1 p.m. is supposed to be 10 p.m.
Yeah, it is. It is. The hours, of course, reflect pro forma requirements, revenue requirements to make this stuff work. But like Ian said, it's going to be subject to community feedback and just the realities of how foot traffic and our marketing, our launch really go at the end of the day.
I think we probably would request that the application would be updated with what your intention is. Yep. Especially since what's here is more generous than what's in the application. So we just update that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, understand that operation wise, you may not be able to fund getting all the hours, but if your intention is to open those broad hours 10 to 10, 10 to 11, I think it's better for the community to understand that's what you intend to when you're up to full speed.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Tina?
Maybe I missed this, but did you say you spoke to community block associations?
Yeah, so in terms of community outreach, I did an email that was intended just for all the block associations, then one just for all the tenant associations. And then there were a couple of nonprofits. One was in Greenwich. Then there was a couple that were just, you could tell were OG community people that had been around forever. There were actually business addresses. The only responses I got back were from the state assembly member's office. And then I think one of the block associations asked me what the cross streets were. That was it, though.
Alan.
Hi. So does that show the backyard? Are you using that for anything? cigarette, or lunch or something, that would be shut down.
Were you having trouble hearing him? He asked about, the plans, showed a backyard. And so the question was, are there any plans for using that backyard space? Is that like a break area, a cigarette smoking area? What are the intentions, if any?
There's no intentions for that backyard. That's not permitted for use by the landlord.
Okay. All right, we'll take down the presentation. We don't have any other attendees any longer. So I guess there are no questions from the general public. Thoughts?
Persistence overcomes resistance.
I'm supportive, moving forward. We asked that we update hours. And I don't want to stipulate to no backyard usage just to make that clear.
Okay.
The deliveries,
Yeah.
the delivery time. I mean, this, every day.
Okay, and any second on that?
Second.
Okay, a lot of seconds. All those in favor? Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate the really clear plan that you have, as well as basically the maturity around entering this market, and we wish you a lot of luck.
I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get that Slurpee.
Yeah.
Yes. Make sure there's no trademark issue, though.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we get rid of that. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, so we don't have any other applicants coming. However, we had an applicant that had come, what was that? That was also about a year ago, the original? So, okay.
October.
Yeah. So I don't have the address in front of me.
It's the applicant's address was 245 West 14th Street, Leafy Green or something like that.
Okay. So 245 West 14th Street, Leafy Green. The applicant there literally waited around there. The last person we saw after about 10 different applicants that presented, they waited in the space. They had a physical location, which they had already secured and already were renting. They presented a very clear plan. It's on a broad street, 14th Street. They demonstrated having found folks that understand the industry to work through how to navigate this new area. We were overwhelmingly supportive of the application. What has happened since then is another application which has come before us, which we also did support, was effectively, I wouldn't call it managed, but consulted, has a consultant of Housing Works. And so that location somehow got bumped up in the process and was actually granted their license, and they will be up and operating. And so now what that has created is they are technically within 1,000 feet of the same applicant. OCM does recognize, or somehow not outright did recognize, that the process was not very clear and created this situation. They have offered what is called it's not a variance, it's called
It's part of the code. It's what's called the public convenience and advantage section of the code, which allows, and it's amendment to the code.
That's where I was looking for an amendment.
119. And so
essentially what this amendment allows is, if there is demonstration that the community is supportive and recognizes that a particular applicant is actually bringing something positive to the community, that they will consider that applicant, even though it may be within that 1,000-foot area. So, you know, after having spoken, Jesse and I had a conversation with the applicant. We understood what the situation was. I think primarily one of the things we focused on in our task force meeting was that location on 14th Street, which is traffic going two ways. It's a very broad street. There's a lot of retail activity. And it did not seem as if adding something that is technically within that 1,000 feet creates an undue hardship on the community, or would create or excuse me, cannibalize that potential business, considering that corridor is very active. Our recommendation to that applicant is to continue to pursue that, but that would require that we write an administrative letter, which just reiterates our original support for this application, but we wanted to have that discussion here if there are any concerns or issues about that from the task force.
Again, I wasn't at that meeting. It sounds like this is a good applicant. My only, and I'm supportive, but my only call out would be 14th Street, even though it is broad, it is certainly commercial. It is also a very challenging block around there, just the proximity to Union Square. We also have Salvation Army and YMCA, so there are services that are in the vicinity there. We've just started a new block association for 100 and 200 blocks of 15th Street, and just had our first meeting, and some of the 14th Street challenges came up as one of the concerns on just spill over 15th Street. So supportive, but just something to be aware of that it's.
I think we weren't aware that there's a new block association, and that might be something that this applicant should be informed that they need to reach out. Okay, that's very really brand new. Any other thoughts from the task force on writing an administrative letter, which essentially just reiterates the support that the task force had for the original application?
It's a different kind of retailer, right? It's not like it's something else. Right?
So he originally was a grower. If you remember, the only thing, once the injunction happened, the only thing that was somehow able to be approved was growers, was a what was called a farmer's market. Growers
market.
So there was two in our district. One was up in Hell's Kitchen and this gentleman. And so he had that running for a while. He then, shifted over into a dispensary, a standard dispensary once that farmer's market concept sort of ended and the injunction was lifted. So that's what his history with us is. I'll only also mention that, I don't have the exact footage. I can track that down, but it's a huge space. But in terms of the distance, I think one of the things that I initially was somewhat concerned about this was just the precedent of us saying within 1,000 feet, because we have certainly said that the other way, which is you're within, you're 995 feet, and that's still within 1,000 feet, so we couldn't be full support. So but I will say this is literally at the very edge of the 1,000 feet. So it is not like it's not, we're talking about a number of blocks away.
Which also feels like a different neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, it's 14, it's basically on the corner of 14th and 8th, and the other one is on 16th and 7th. So. Yeah, so I mean, in the grand scheme of if we're gonna allude this to liquor stores or something like that, which we don't even review, it's not, and I didn't feel like if it was within the same block, I'd be like, okay, we're putting ourselves on the record here for saying now we're okay with multiple dispensaries being on the same block. So I don't feel that way.
That's really cool. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying Housing Works is going to be happy with us, but I mean, I'll be honest with you, that's
but obviously, I mean, one of the things that we have recognized is the consultant had said that at this point it's random, and there's really no rhyme or reason who's getting the proximity protection, who's actually getting their license, who's actually coming up on the lottery because they're not following a process. And, one of the things that we recognize when Housing Works did present is they have the name recognition. I'm sure they have a lot of sports. They already have a dispensary.
Yeah.
Something that's successful. So the fact that they're consulting with the other one may have played a role in why they moved up in the process.
We also got the feeling that OCM recognized that they made a mistake. And this is their way of trying to solve the issue, because the these guys were certainly before them. They certainly had a history with OCM. They certainly, you know,
followed the rules.
and
They
so
provided exactly everything they were supposed to, and already were in the process by being a grower.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have the potential for writing this administrative letter, as long as there's no concern by the task force that, we need to have them come back with us. All right, and the last new business item is simply, we're in the middle of budget task force season. And we are on record in the narrative, thank you, in the narrative portion of the statement that we're making about the budget, about the proliferation of illegal shops, and enforcement is something that we're looking for. We have not had anyone come specifically to this task force and ask for more enforcement as part of an agenda item. However, we are on record with plenty of letters that indicate what the issues and the concerns are and where we as a community would like to see more focus. And we just wanted to ensure that from this task force perspective, that if there is an ask for more enforcement, that it's in line, even though we recognize this is a state law, but there is potential for local involvement in enforcement now that NYPD is being deputized to assist the sheriff's office. So just ensuring that that sounds like it's still an appropriate ask, and then also opening the floor if there's anything else cannabis or the industry related that we think is a budget ask. Yes.
Conversations about like joking about talking about what we had and the way they determine $1,000 feet as opposed to kind of a circular area.
So it's not that simple. Yeah. So the 1,000 feet is, no, the 1,000 feet is as the bird flies. That's the 1,000 feet. What's not 1,000, as the crow flies, sorry. What's not 1,000 feet, what's not as a crow flies is the schools and the houses of worship, So that has to be on the same street. So the way the language is said is basically that if it's on the same street, road, they actually called it road because there's more roads in New York than streets. So on the same road and within whatever it is, the 500 feet or 200 feet it is, then it would disqualify it. But that's where we've run into the situation where we've had applicants explain to us that, right, by law, they, you know, if you did it how the crows flies, yes, it's within a 500 feet, but it's not on the same road. It's around the corner and a block down. And so therefore it doesn't count as the disqualifying thing.
Do you think that there's a budget ask in there?
That's that concern. The school is down the block and we can't, you know, consider that because it's not on the road. So maybe there's something you can put in language and encourage, you know, even though it's going to the state, so encourage a change in that local council.
I think it'd be a stretch to call it a budget request. I
The only
think.
thing that we could ask for is a study of or an analysis of their rollout process and how to improve it. I mean, again, that may not be the best place for a bunch.
The narrative states what the community feels is important.
Yeah.
Not the actual budget.
I'm not doubting that. I actually wouldn't think it might be not the most productive way of, I think we should have someone come and either OCM or a state elected rep and be able to talk about what are we hearing from the community and what can they change? I mean, you can always make amendments to these things. OCM seems to be very open to making amendments whenever they want. So like, I think that is something we can talk about to say, how do you change that? And how do you make it more applicable to NYC? Because it doesn't make sense, right? You know, I mean, I just don't want to, what I'm afraid is if we all can say we're going to put in the narrative and then it just disappears in the narrative. And no one ever responds to that document, by the way, to be clear, you know.
I was just gonna say, interestingly enough, that was the case for the housing works, Seventh Avenue store. There's a school that's within the 500, but it's around the corner. And the sort of neighbors spoke about that. They didn't have an understanding, like, no, but it was like around the corner.
Yeah, it was Dwight. I'm not Dwight. It was, Winston.
One of the things I think is asking about enforcement, we've been on record for, it's consistent. I think that at this point in time, anything cannabis related, that's probably our most pressing community comment is how do we go ahead and remove the illegal operations so that there can be the potential for success for the legal ones. All right, so then we'll let the task force, I'm sorry, the budget task force know that we can use our previous letters to, I know they've already done it, but we can ask.
No. We can certainly add to it. I mean, I think we can certainly update it because I mean, legislation has changed since we
Last wrote the letter?
Yeah, since we last wrote the letter, so I think we can acknowledge that, but I think we can clearly say that we still need, they padlock them and then they're open in 24.
I see where it's going. Can I get a motion?
No, I'm just saying, agreeing to amend the narrative to acknowledge that legislation has changed. That's all I'm saying.
I think I did. I amended that line.
Oh, okay. Oh, if you already did, then
You meant to amend the letter that we wrote.
No.
Oh, okay, never mind.
No, I just meant to amend the.
So I ask for another motion, although before we do that, I just wanted to check, was there anything that you wanted to bring up or speak about since you did make the trip? Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for coming. All right. Can I get a motion?
Oh, the motion to adjourn? Oh, okay. I thought it was the motion for something else. That's great.
All those in favor? All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.